Hello folks, and welcome back to G4G on YouTube. We are now in the month of October, so it is time for spooky season stuff, Halloween stuff, and we also have some interesting news. Now, I had originally recorded this video before the Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux Unity build video. I had to redo it because for some reason it only recorded 1 minute of audio and the other like 7 or 8 minutes of the video there was no audio for some particular reason. Don't know why. It's not like the mic got muted or anything, and it was actually going to be sort of suspenseful because everybody was expecting something about Redux, and then I was going to wind up having another video which was topical, but I had to scrap it. So here we are talking about it after the Unity build video. So why are we talking about Atlus and the Shin Megami Tensei Imagine MMO? Well, this is an MMO that died back in 2016, the same year that Marvel Avengers Alliance died. Well, a group helmed by two different people, two fans, named Rekiumi, let's see, Rikuimu, there we go, Hi Puffy Amiyumi, and Compact they formed a group called ReImagine because the original MMO was called Shin Megami Tensei Imagine Online. Well, they are doing a rebirth of that MMO called ReImagine. Well, Atlus found out and sued them. Now, this is why I wanted to do the video, because we always talk in the Redux videos and everything about how Redux is fairly well protected and we don't see really any problems with lawsuits from Playdom or Disney and everything. I do have to stress that we do have two former Playdom devs sitting in the Facebook group, so they are aware of the project. They have cheered us on. I think it actually might be up to 3 devs that know about the project. I think it's 2 guys and a lady. One of them has actually just responded to a couple threads on Facebook. So from the Playdom side, even though they do not assist us, probably because their hands are tied through legalese, they are quite aware of the project and they often cheer us on. And they have shared some of their own experiences playing their own product. And they've even shown us some pictures of what it was like in the Playdom offices and some of the paraphernalia that they had around. I think they even did some pictures of the last couple days of Marvel Avengers Alliance being over there at Playdom. They have on numerous occasions stated things like it was always Disney's fault and not anything within Playdom as to why the game was killed. So at least on the Playdom side, we're good. Whether or not the big mouse ever pulls the trigger on anything is, it's admittedly always up in the air. But we had, in the beginning of when Goofy took it over from Gaming Life Beginner, we had plans in effect to recolor and rename things so that the IP wouldn't be as bad. But then there's been court cases about the preservation of dead MMOs and everything, and that is one of the areas in which we're protected. So you may be thinking, okay, Napalm, you've said these great things about how we're protected and you don't think Disney would ever come after us and everything. Well, then why are you scaring the shit out of us with this video about Atlus and Shin Megami Tensei Imagine Online? Well, I want to point out that even though we're talking about a lawsuit here, we have so many games that have been rebirthed and don't get into issues. Now, let's talk about 2 big ones that have. The Metroid 2 Game Boy version, there was somebody who was out programming a SNES Super Metroid style Metroid that was set back in the Metroid 2 game. So you basically had the SNES era Super Metroid sort of controls and graphics and everything, except it was the game Metroid 2. Well, he got shut down. However, all the stuff that he produced up until that point, if you get a copy of it, you can go out and get it. But he got shut down by Nintendo, who of course then released their own version of Metroid 2 on the Switch. So you could kind of see how that was coming. Blizzard and World of Warcraft, they've known about emulated servers for a long, long time, whether it be ones that have recreated Wrath, or recreated vanilla, or have recreated vanilla but then do crazy things like let you play as ogres and shit like that. Well, they went after a big name brand private server called Nostalrius, or Elysium. I forget what it was called at the time, but they went after one that was very well known and decided to shut them down. But they then turned around and began to enter into sort of like negotiations and meetings with them, and it fell apart one other time. But now we have, of course, World of Warcraft Classic, which is vanilla, TBC, and most recently Wrath of the Lich King. Funny thing is, a lot of my old Wrath videos are seeing a resurgence on my channel because people are going back to them for help and everything. It's a weird thing to see right now, but I actually had some people comment on a random Murloc Quest video. They're like, oh my god, this video was so helpful, and like people are coming back to that video to get help from it. Napalm, thank you. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. So there have been some big name cease and desist things, but then there was also games like Rusty Hearts, which successfully came back without issues, and they tried to rebirth Gigantic, and they've rebirthed Nosgoth, as it was pointed out to me recently by a friend of the channel. They were trying to do Paragon for a little while, which was that first-person shooter MOBA from Epic. And I mean, I think the City of Heroes games have private servers out there. So there's definitely games that have been successfully rebirthed and don't get into suits. So what happened with ReImagine that has caught the ire of Atlus, who doesn't necessarily have a reputation for this? Well, I've got two articles up on the screen over here, one over on Destructoid and one over on MMORPG.com, and we'll go ahead and talk about it. So ReImagine, as I said, boils down to Reku Imu, Hi Puffy Amiyumi, and Comp Hack, which were the creators of the unofficial MMO. But you'll see here, which the suit alleges are responsible for the creation of the unofficial MMO, its engine and its front end. The suit also alleges that Emu attempted to pass off the game as their own creation, copyrighting the new build and attempting to profit both through its distribution and in-game activities. I've seen on another site that also part of the reason why Atlus has gone after them is due to the fact that they also recreated the website for Imagine. So here's the deal. This is Imagine the game, Imagine the launcher, and Imagine the website all being rebirthed. Now here on this Destructoid article, it goes into more details than I had encountered, because it's saying that Emu attempted to essentially say this is an original creation, which, I mean, clearly it's not. I think everybody playing this knows they're playing Imagine rebirthed by somebody. Now, I never knew that Shin Megami Tensei had an MMO of any shape or form. I never heard of this game when it was around. I never tested it. I never tried to get into a beta or an alpha. So this comes as a big surprise to me, but this is way different than Marvel Avengers Alliance. I mean, I have to do my duty to report on things that are kind of adjacent to us like that, but I also want to dispel any potential fear-mongering that you might see here. So, Shin Megami Tensei Imagine, the client, came out in Japan in 2007, and I think a year later in the States, and 2 years later in Europe, but it was eventually taken offline in 2016 following the closure of developer Marvelous's PC department. The ReImagine server featured the world, the characters, and the UI of the original MMO. Yeah, that's basically what Redux is doing. However, now with the Unity build, it is not exactly spot on. Like, as we saw in the last video, there were some differences in the fonts, and the UI is like, 97% the same, but it's not completely the same. Plus, nobody's trying to recreate the Playdom website, and nobody is trying to redo a launcher, because Redux and Alliance never had a launcher. It was just go to Facebook and you got in. So I think, I know this is not the type of stuff that you are going to see happen at all to Redux, because we are doing something so far and away different than this. At best, Disney may say stop, similar to Blizzard did with Nostalrius and private servers, and also what Disney did to the guy rebirthing Metroid 2 as a SNES styled game that you can play on the PC. Those are really the only two that I've ever known that have had issues, and they were just simply stop production on it, stop serving the files, that's it. This is really the only one that I've seen as a lawsuit, and it is mostly because of trying to take all the website assets and rerunning the assets as a ReImagine Online website. We're not running a website. So here, the lawsuit filed back in December of 2021 states the Japanese company sued the players at the heart of the Revival server, the long-shuttered SMT MMO. Atlus claims in a court filing that the private servers caused and will continue to cause irreparable damage to Atlus unless constrained by the court. Atlus is requesting the court shut down all websites and private servers related to the fan-made server, as well as seeking up to $25,000 per violation that the court finds. There was another group that had rebirthed Imagine that was not named in any kind of a suit, and that group decided to take their stuff down anyway. Here, SMT Imagine, let's see. In the suit, claims not only did defendants create an emulated server to play the MMO, but also recreated the Imagine website used by Atlus themselves when the game was live. As it stands, one of the competitors, according to MMO Bomb, ReImagine Online, has been shut down, the latter doing so out of caution based on a post that they put up on their Discord. So there is another group that decided to stop what they were doing just because they saw what happened over here, but they've not actually been sued. So I don't think the Redux team has anything to worry about this, because nobody is trying to go this far. First of all, this is why I say no money can change hands for this product whatsoever. Nobody can pay Goofy or anybody on the team for their efforts, because that's when things really get jacked up with IP laws, and you can kind of see that here. I don't know what they were charging for this. Maybe it's pay a small fee to download it or run update. I don't know what the monetization is, but this is why nobody can donate to Goofy. Goofy cannot ask for money. Why the game will not have any pay-to-win mechanics or pay to play anything on there. Everything in the game will be self-contained within the game, because I mean, for Goofy to even have a payment processor outside of like PayPal and Venmo and everything would get really, really complicated. We don't have any web hosting. We're not going to ask for any web hosting. The most that we do is serve up the download when there were things to download, and they either go to Mega or I repopulate them over to Google Drive because there were some fans of the game that cannot get to Mega in their country. But Mega is the best thing for Goofy. So there you go. It's fair to report on things like this when they happen because everybody needs to have this information, but don't buy into the fear mongering. Don't think, oh my god, what's going to happen with Goofy? What's going to happen with Redux? You're not going to see this come over to Redux. It is just so far and away different, but it at least highlights why we are super careful on this project and why we are doing things the way that we are, so that, you know, in your heart of hearts, you may be super generous and may want to do something, but don't. We had a fundraiser to have somebody make some little figures for Goofy way back then. That's a completely different story because Goofy did not benefit from that. We could have done that for Goofy just because we liked him. It has nothing to do with Redux and everything like that. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I got into the World of Warcraft Dragonflight beta, so you are probably going to see the channel explode with some Dragonflight content. I've historically always done beta videos from World of Warcraft when I get in them. I mean, my channel basically blew up from Wrath beta stuff, and then a little bit with Legion. Legion was also extremely popular around the time that MAA had died. Myself and Kingfisher both actually focused on a lot of Legion beta videos, although Kingfisher stopped at one point. And yeah, so you're going to see some videos on that hitting the channel. I wanted to get this one out here. And yeah, stay tuned for more cool stuff on the channel. So thanks for watching, folks. Peace out.